I'm Andy, he screamed wordlessly. I'm Andy. An old lady stopped at the other end of the alley. The garbage cans were stacked there, beating noisily in the rain. The old lady carried an umbrella with broken ribs, carried it like a queen. She stepped into the mouth of the alley, shopping bag over one arm. She lifted the lids of the garbage cans. She did not hear Andy grunt because she was a little deaf and because of the rain was beating on her canes, on the cans. She collected her string and her newspapers and an old hat with a feather on it from one of the garbage cans and a broken footstool from another one of the cans. And then she replaced the lids and lifted her umbrella high and walked out of the alley mouth. She had worked quickly and soundlessly, and now she was gone. The alley looked very long now. He could see people passing at the other end of it, and he wondered who the people were. And he wondered if he would ever get to know them, wondered who it was of the guardians who had stabbed him, who had plunged the knife into his body. That's for you, Royal, the voice had said. That's for you, Royal. Even in his pain, there had been some sort of pride in knowing he was a royal. Now there was no pride at all. With the rain beginning to chill him, with the blood pouring steadily between his fingers, he knew only a sort of dizziness. He could only think, I want to be Andy. It was not very much to ask of the world. He watched the world passing at the other end of the alley. The world didn't know he was Andy. The world didn't know he was alive. He wanted to say, Hey, I'm alive. Hey, look at me, I'm alive. Don't you know I'm alive? Don't you know I exist? He felt weak and very tired. He felt alone and wet and feverish and chilled. He knew he was going to die now. That made him suddenly sad. He was filled with sadness that his life would be over at 16. He felt all at once as if he had never done anything, never seen anything, never been anywhere. There were so many things to do. He wondered why he'd never thought of them before, wondered why the rumbles and the jumps and the purple jackets had always seemed so important to him before. Now they seemed like such small things in a world he was missing, a world that was rushing past at the other end of the alley. I don't want to die, he thought. I haven't lived yet. It seemed very important to him that he take off the purple jacket. He was very close to dying, and when they found him, he did not want them to say, Oh, it's a royal. With great effort, he rolled over onto his back. He felt the pain tearing at his stomach when he moved. If he never did another thing, he wanted to take off the jacket. The jacket had only one meaning now, and that was a very simple meaning. If he had not been wearing the jacket, he wouldn't have been stabbed. The knife had not been plunged in hatred of Andy. The knife hated only the purple jacket. The jacket was that stupid, meaningless thing that was robbing him of his life. He lay struggling with the shiny white jacket. His arms were heavy. Pain ripped fire across his body whenever he moved. But he squirmed and fought and twisted until one arm was free and then the other. He rolled away from the jacket and lay quite still, breathing heavily, listening to the sound of his breathing and the sounds of the rain and thinking, Rain is sweet, I'm Andy. She found him in the doorway a minute past midnight. She left the dance to look for him. And when she found him, she knelt beside him and she said, Andy, it's me, Angela. He did not answer her. She backed away from him, tears springing into her eyes, and then she ran from the alley. She did not stop running until she found a cop. And now, standing with the cop, she looked down at him. The cop rose and said, He's dead. All the crying was out of her now. She stood in the rain and said nothing, looking at the purple jacket that rested a foot away from his body. The cop picked up the jacket and turned it over in his hands. A royal, huh? He said. She looked at the cop, and very quietly she said, His name is Andy. The cop slung the jacket over his arm. He took out his black pad and he flipped it open to a blank page. A royal, he said, then began writing.